Arthur, do you have any experience of living in community?
So I remember when we used to live with the Pays interns. We had one, his name was Sal from Brazil, and then another intern, his name was Jordan, also from Brazil. And it wasn't easy all the time, but we got into great conversations. And I remember having conversations with Jordan. He'd drop into my office when I was working, and he'd want to talk about relationships. He'd want to talk about where his life was going. We used to have really pretty serious conversations, and they happened just in the course of life. I don't know if I was of any use to him, if I was any help to him, but when I think back, now that they've been gone for several years, I realize that through those experiences of living with people like Sal and Jordan and Lynn, of course, that I myself grew. And it was simply because we lived together. We shared all aspects of life, and we entered into discussions and conversations that made us both grow. And so I'm very grateful for that. Mm. Have you any experience of living in community?
Yes. So perhaps, I think when I look back, actually, it's almost like I've always wanted to live in community. Mm. So even realizing that living with my own family was living in community. So I have my parents and my brother and my sister. And then afterwards, when I was a student and I traveled and I went overseas for like gap years or internship or studies, I was always looking for a place to belong. And I remember this one time I was living in Australia, living the dream, being 20 in Sydney, the year of the Olympics was just really exciting. But instead of finding a flat overlooking the beach, for instance, cliche, I found a room within a family, just a simple room, and I just loved I wanted to be independent, and I was, but at the same time I had people to talk with and about, real stuff of real life, of being a 20-year-old something into adulthood. And so that was an experience of community, and actually later on, living in different countries, I had the same desire. At the time I wouldn't have said that that's what I was doing.
Living in community.
Yeah, but actually my heart was, I want to live with other people, either in the same space, either sharing life and the real stuff of life, not just work or hobbies, but the entirety of life, of who we are. And then more recently, so I lived in a residential college not long ago with 70 students during the day and 25 during the weekends. Yeah. And it wasn't always easy, but I couldn't have done it on my own. And because I have seen Christ through the community, loving each other, loving me. The times when I felt really horrible and crap, they were there. Even those who had no idea, they witnessed to me just by being there. And then more recently, during lockdown, how do you do community during lockdown? I did, because of the bubble. That was just really, I live on my own, and it was just really so beautiful to be able to be part of a family. So my friend, who is now a family friend, I consider her, and her children who come to my house, and it's not just thinking about the news and sharing about our own prayers, or it's a whole journey. Like the whole week is woven because we know each other so well, and every aspect of our lives is shared, really, even when we're not living together, just because we're so involved in each other's life. They're my home now,
It's beautiful, isn't it?
And it's just and it's what we're made for.
Absolutely.